On a quiet street in Barnstable Village, Massachusetts, stands an elegant colonial home known as the Barnstable House. The locals call it the House of 11 Ghosts. When Dr. Hans Holzer arrived here, he didn't find one haunting. He found centuries stacked on top of each other, echoes of shipwrecks, lost love, and restless souls from every age of Cape Cod's history. This is the true story of the Barnstable House haunting. The Barnstable House sits on Old Kings Highway, one of the oldest thoroughfares in America. Built around 1716 by Nathaniel Barnabas, a wealthy sea merchant. Site history. Earlier records show a mill pond and tidal stream, once used by Wampanoag people for fishing long before the colonists arrived. Rebuilds. The home burned twice, once in the late 1700s, again around 1820, and was rebuilt using much of its original frame. Each rebuilding layered new timber over the old foundation. By the 1800s, it had changed hands multiple times. A tavern keeper, a sea captain, and later a doctor, each left their mark. The basement still shows stones blackened by the early fire. Locals said that's where the hauntings began. Dr. Holzer first heard about the Barnstable House in the early 1970s after reports of lights turning on by themselves and a woman's voice singing when the house was empty. He visited with medium Ethel Johnson Myers, whose trances had uncovered some of his most famous cases. They arrived in late afternoon, recording temperature readings and interviewing the owners, who described footsteps on the stairs at midnight and a child's laughter in empty rooms. Holzer noted that the atmosphere of the house was layered, saying it felt like different times bleeding through each other.
There are many here, fallen into the water storms that swallowed men and masts alike.
Finally, the room grew icy. Ethel gasped and pointed to the corner staircase, whispering about a woman in a white gown descending, her dress torn by fire. The owners confirmed a long-standing legend of a maid named Lucy, who died saving a child during the house's second fire. Holzer concluded that the Barnstable House wasn't haunted by one ghost, but by many, each tied to a different tragedy on the same ground. Dr. Holzer studied Cape Cod's geology and found something rare. The property sits near a small fault line and groundwater channel running toward the coast. He theorized that moving water and shifting quartz sand could act like a battery for psychic energy, recording emotional events. He called the Barnstable House a spiritual crossroads, a place where time itself has a thin skin. Local historians later verified several details from the séance. A ship called the Falconer sank off Sandy Neck in 1821. Its captain's name was Hallett. Town records note a child drowned near the mill stream at the back of the property around 1799. An 1820 fire insurance report lists a servant named Lucy who perished during rebuilding. Decades after Holzer's visit, tourists and staff of the Modern Law Office housed there still report footsteps on the front staircase when the building is empty, a smell of smoke with no source, a woman in white glimpsed in windows after closing hours. Dr. Holzer filed the case as Barnstable House, multiple overlap haunting. He wrote, "Hauntings do not age like men. They layer. Each life leaves its voice in the structure, and when conditions align, the voices answer each other." He believed the spirits here were not hostile, merely coexisting, echoes of different centuries sharing the same air. Today, the Barnstable House remains one of Cape Cod's best-known haunted landmarks, a living museum of Holzer's theory that ghosts are people, not monsters, still inhabiting the places they loved or lost. So, what do you think? Is the Barnstable House a crossroads of centuries, or just old wood playing tricks on the senses? Dr. Hans Holzer believed the walls themselves remembered. If you enjoyed this true Holzer investigation, like, subscribe, and join us next time as we open another case from America's first ghost hunter.